Nimefika tu saa hii. Nimefika tu kwa hiyo mkuu nini tumeshafika na nimeanza kwenda nayo, so nilisaidia tu kusaidia kupromote video because ndio ame arrive but bado hatujampata, so tunaweza saidia tu. Haya, thanks.
Hello?
Songa kiasi.
Guide us, eh?
Okay. Okay, come this side.
That side.
Okay. You can stand from here. That's okay.
Mr. President, thank you so much. I went to your TSC, one of your members, now I'm coming to yeah.
Hello. Just now, we've got your channel alive.
Are you ready?
How minutes?
Sasa mic on. Mara moja. Spande juu katikati.
Dogo tuende light.
You signal us when you
Umepewa channel?
Nataka kuweka one.
Umepewa output?
What one?
One.
Yes.
Hapa kwangu inanimudu. Hapana turudi. Hebu enda na kampunga Okay.
Who are you with? Yeah. Go to my car. Bring the handbook. A document which shows persona non grata. I need to show it to the president.
Shika hivi.
They were trying to remove them as I was coming. But I can't touch something. I don't know what it is. At least president is here. Oh, wonderful. Come today. You tell me later how you go to it. When I was trying to keep it, to snatch rudely, I was calling them police. No, they snatched the phones, and then one was in the handbag, so after a while they went and left me. I thought I could check it. Remember, they are spying. I even had asked for credit from Nairobi to be able not to call the WhatsApp now to call them for ease of communication. And I've called 2-3 people, but I didn't think I would be without a home. I would have been lonely. Yeah. I'm glad.
Can we?
They did not tell me. I asked them. They just said security. I asked them, why are you taking my phones? You have not told me why you're detaining me. And my phones also security. One is in two and a
Mheshimiwa, we are good. We can start.
Okay. So I'm glad to be home after being denied entry into Uganda this morning. I arrived at Entebbe Airport at 8:50 aboard a Kenya Airways jet. We went through immigration. I was with 3 others from Kenya, including the president of the Law Society of Kenya, Mr. Geshero, our wakili, and the Secretary General of East Africa Law Society, whose president, Ramadan Abubakar, is with me here on my right. And we went through immigration as normal after filling the Ebola forms. I was actually processed, and I went to wait for my colleagues where the luggage is taken. I had only hand luggage. So while waiting for my colleagues, the immigration officer who cleared me came and told me that she has been told she made a mistake, that there was a note regarding me. I suppose that the red alert. I had been told last week that there's a possibility of a red alert on me in Kampala. This was in Entebbe. This was following the arrest, unlawful arrest, detention and torture of Ugandan senior lawyer Erias Lukwago, under whose chamber I practice, and one of the senior most Ugandan lawyers with whom I represent Kisa Besije and Obed Mutale. When he got arrested and detained unlawfully, we issued statements, and I joined the Uganda Law Society via video link from Nairobi condemning his arrest. Following those statements and a space we held the same evening, Monday last week, I got a tip that I may be having a red alert at Entebbe. So today I arrived in the morning. I was not going as a lawyer, I was going as an observer to see my colleague Erias Lukwago, because he was appearing at the court in Machindi. So I never got there. My colleagues got there. So I was told I need to see the supervisor. I went to the supervisor, who then said I need to see yet another person inside. Finally, after being taken round offices, I was taken to a man who told me he's the principal immigration officer at the airport. And he told me that I will not be allowed to enter. I told them there is no problem. But by then, 2 of his junior officers had snatched both my phones. I asked them why they were snatching my phones and why they are so rude, because they were snatching by force. They are not even asking, let me have your phone. Very ill behaved. I told them as much. So the principal immigration officer said that I will not be allowed entry because of security reasons. He didn't state them. And I asked, what about the phones? What law allows you to take my property? If you're not allowing me into the country, bring my phones, let me go with them. They refused. So they wanted to take me to a holding cell. And I told them, because there was a Kenya Airways flight, the one I've come with. My scheduled flight was for the evening at 9. I told them because there's a Kenya Airways at 2 and I'm a frequent flyer, therefore authorized to use the Kenya Airways lounge. I asked them to let me go and stay in the lounge instead of whatever they wanted to take me. I also wanted to be safe because they'll tell you it's a holding cell, but you don't know where they are taking you. So he called the Kenya Airways manager, a very fine gentleman, who came. He was given my passport, told not to give me, and that is responsible for me. I was taken through the airbound, where transfer passengers are taken to the lounge. I noticed that behind us were 2 airport security officers, immigration officers, a lady and a man. They came and stayed in the lounge, and I stayed there the whole time until the plane arrived. Now, they were telling me to fill a form which looked like it needed details that were on my passport. I told them I'm not going to duplicate information on my passport. They have photocopiers, they can copy that information. We disagreed on it. They told me that people feel. I told them also people get told what offense they have committed and the reasons for being bad. Because I'm a citizen of East Africa. What I realize now is that East Africa has shrunk. East Africa just means your country. Because this is my second deportation. I was barred entry in Tanzania for daring to go and witness the trial of Tundu Lissu. Yet their constitution says a criminal trial is a public thing which anybody can go to. I was in Uganda, licensed to practice in Uganda, special license under the firm of Lukwago and Company, as lead counsel for Dr. Kiza Besige and Obed Lutale. I've been operating there in that capacity since January 2025. We go to the case, we go for mentions, we go for hearing dates, we make our press conferences. I have not had any problem whatsoever until the arrest of my co-lawyer in the case, Erias Lukwago, the immediate former Lord Mayor of Kampala City and a former member of parliament, a very respected member in the society there. He also is the acting president of the People's Front, which is Besige's party. This is political persecution of Lukwago, and it is interference with Besige's defense because the hearing of his case was even supposed to start on the 11th, last week. It only did not start because of certain complications. So when they deny entry to Besige's lead lawyer and they incarcerate unlawfully his lead lawyer in Uganda, that is a denial of Besige's right to fair trial. And like I wondered last week, I do not think that in those circumstances, Besige can get a fair trial in the courts of Uganda. I'm also very surprised that a matter that acquired public notoriety, everybody knew, and the CDF, General Muhosi, had tweeted on his official Twitter handle how he is torturing Lukwago. And this was said in court. It is so surprising that the court would go ahead, sanitize the actions of the army, who under Ugandan constitution do not have powers over civilian arrests, and keep Lukwago in custody for a whole week. I do not know whether today he has gotten bail, but it looks like Uganda is back to the days of Idi Amin, the days of arrests, unlawful arrests by the army, where the army takes over from the police although the constitution of Uganda is very clear that the army is subject to civilian authority. Lukwago was arrested because he intended to serve court summons on General Muhozi. So that is the background of my deportation today. I thank the East African Law Society. I've said the president is here with me, who have already issued a statement. I thank my friends and party members. I can see my deputy party leaders here, Professor Kagwanja, seen the Deputy Secretary General and other officials and members right here. And friends, I'm very happy that you've come to receive me. Among those who are receiving me today is Advocate Gloria Kimani, with whom we were similarly deported with from Tanzania. And I can see like Lynn, whom we were deported from Tanzania with. So if it's an offense for me to go into countries of East Africa and I'm holding an East African passport, is there an East African community or is it a club of our leaders? Here in Kenya, the Ruto administration deported Brian Kagoro, a renowned human rights lawyer and activist. In Uganda, they deported, in Tanzania they deported us, have deported others. In Kenya, we have deported many people, including citizens of South Sudan, some of whom have disappeared permanently on arrival in their countries. We deported Kanu of Nigeria. We have deported Turkish nationals who are refugees here. In all this saga, Kenya emerges as the capital of abductions and deportations. My being denied entry today in Uganda, I believe, was unlawful. The snatching through use of force of my phones, which I know have been interfered with and which I suspect they have mined data unauthorized from my phones. And therefore, when they try to return them to me on the plane, I refuse to touch them. I do not know whether they have harmful chemicals, on them. This is actionable, and I'm definitely going to sue. I will consult with my colleagues and will sue, whether in Uganda, in the African court, because the East African court is no longer moving. All cases filed are stationary. Maybe the president of East African Law Society may wish to comment. And if I may introduce him properly, his name is Rama Abubakar, a Kenyan, but the president of East Africa Law Society and a distinguished lawyer.
Thank you, Senior Counsel. As East Africa Law Society, we begin by condemning the actions that happened this afternoon. And just briefly on the background, this morning East Africa Law Society sent a delegation to Kampala to observe the case of Honorable Arias Lukwago and also to participate in a mediation process that is ongoing between the Uganda Law Society and the Judiciary of Uganda. And it is when we received news that Senior Counsel Martha Karua has been denied entry and is being held in Communicado. And as East Africa Law Society, we immediately issued a statement. We do hope that you can get hold of it. One thing I must say is that indeed there is a trend emerging in the region. It is not the first time a Kenyan lawyer has been denied entry. This happened last year in May 2025 when Senior Counsel Martha Karua, Gloria Kimani, and Lynn Good, and of course CJ Emeritus Willie Mutunga were denied entry in Dar es Salaam, Tanzania, when they were going to observe the case of opposition leader Tundu Lissu, who's still being held for treason charges. You will agree with me that when it comes to the EAC treaties, Article 6 and 7 has the dream of free entry of goods, persons and services. Law is also a service. When Senior Counsel travels to Kampala, is to offer a service. Other than that, there's a doctrine of open justice, where every citizen is allowed entry into a court of law just to observe what is happening. So clearly, there was an infringement of this doctrine, there was a violation of the treaty, and as East Africa Law Society, we shall be looking into these actions and see if indeed we must file a suit, because indeed you must file a suit, because it's not the first time the Attorney General of Uganda has been sued. In the case of Samuel Muhochi versus the Attorney General of Uganda, the East Africa Court of Justice had a chance to speak on denial of entry without the right to be heard. Senior counsel, you are deported without being heard.
Persona non grata.
Yeah, and with the document that
which I was given on
yes.
the plane. I didn't see it before.
Yes, where the reasons proffered are persona non grata. You must be informed what is the reason before, because persona non grata is a decision. So there's indeed a violation by the Ministry of Internal Affairs, the Directorate of Immigration, and overly the government of Uganda. Therefore, the East Africa Law Society, we do condemn these actions, and we shall be moving to court to see how we can gain in terms of enforcing the treaty and the necessary prayers before the court. I'm also here with a representative from the Law Society of Kenya, Mr. Mbugu Wanjohi, who's also representing Mr. Senior Counsel Charles Kanjama, who was part of the delegation now in Uganda. Perhaps you can say
Thank you. Thank you, the President of the East Africa Law Society, Mr. Ramathan Abubakar, to Senior Counsel Martha Karua, first and foremost, is to say pole sana. And the Law Society of Kenya has released a statement today, and we condemn what has happened to Senior Counsel Martha Karua. And President Senior Counsel Charles Kanjama sends his utmost apologies to you, Senior Counsel Martha Karua. And in our statement, what we looked at were the issues that whatever is happening in East Africa, it's a charade that is happening, and we are concerned as the Law Society of Kenya on what is happening. This is not the first time. Senior Counsel Martha Karua was deported from Dar es Salaam last year, together with a sitting council member, who is Gloria Kimani. And these issues that we are seeing are of concern to the Law Society of Kenya. And in our statement, we urge the authorities in Uganda to give us what we call clarification on the circumstances as to which Senior Counsel Martha Karua was deported from the Republic of Uganda. We have also quoted a few authorities and treaties, as Mr. Ramathan Abubakar had quoted, that the EAC treaty does not allow the restricted movement of persons. It is unrestricted and unrestricted movement of persons and goods under the EAC treaty. And as he has indicated, if they are going to go to the East Africa Court of Justice, we will form part of that delegation, because this is something that should not be allowed to happen. So we strongly condemn those acts and violations of the rights of Martha Karua, and these are issues that we will take over and address with the relevant authorities. So President Charles Kanjama sends his regards, and he's with that delegation that is currently in Uganda to oppose these particular issues that we are seeing. So we hope that in the coming days we will address some of these issues in full, and when we go to the East Africa Court of Justice, these are issues that we want to square with the Republic of Uganda. So we thank you so much, and
there will be brief comments from my deputy, Mr. Kakwanja.
Thank you.
Very
on behalf of the People's Liberation Party, on behalf of the People's Liberation Party, whose mother Karua, Mother Karua is our party leader, and all Kenyans, I think we feel very saddened by what has happened. It's very sad because Mother went to Uganda to perform her duty as a citizen of East Africa. And therefore, it is within her right to be in Uganda. It was within her right to be in Tanzania. But as it has been said, we notice through this kind of deportation that the idea of East Africa is shrinking. The space of democracy is shrinking. And the space of freedom of movement across our region is shrinking. And we are beginning to observe the transformation of the authoritarianism, repression, and chaos as part of shared values of East Africa. It is not a shared value. Repression is not a part of that shared value. We join hands with our fellow East Africans in Uganda, and we are in solidarity with them that we will overcome. It may take a while, but we are going to overcome, because democracy is a wrong strategy, repression is a short strategy. Repression is short-lived, democracy lives forever. And we are going to continue with this struggle. We give our thanks to those who have supported Mother coming today to give us solidarity. She needs that. Mother is not your ordinary kind of a Kenyan. She's a potential president of this republic, and I think Museveni should take that to heart. That you are dealing with your fellow leader in East Africa. You're not dealing with a citizen. This is not a citizen. If all were to happen, what to happen, Madam Mother would today be the President of the Republic of Kenya. Are you going to repatriate the President of the Republic of Kenya? So let us think hard as leaders in East Africa. President Museveni, with all due respect, respect the democracy that took you to Uganda. The support of the rest of East Africa is what took you here. You took you there. You are in our villages. We welcomed you. You roamed in our countryside. We welcomed you. You did everything in our country. Your family was going to school here. They were passing through here. We never persecuted or repatriated them to take them to Tito Okero or your enemies. Or Idi Amin. We kept you here safely. We taught with your cousin Muhindo and others. So how come that you are in office now, you can repatriate us as Kenyans and you declare us persona non grata? And there are so many Ugandans here who are doing their business here. They are not persona non grata. Why? So rethink your position and please apologize, because it is worthwhile to apologize to Mother, your co-leader in East Africa. She's not your ordinary citizen of the Republic of Kenya. You are repatriating. I repeat that. She's not your ordinary citizen of the Republic of Kenya. She's a potential leader of this republic. And you need your goods and every services to Uganda to pass through this country. Let us think long term, not short term. Thank you.
Thank you. Now, because we've overstayed, okay,
just one.
Yeah.
As senior counsel, what process does it take for one to declare a persona non grata? And two, why do you think East African presidents are so afraid of it?
And three, are you a troublemaker?
I think that's a non-question, the third one, because the circumstances of my deportation from Tanzania and deportation from Uganda are similar. Uganda and Tanzania are weaponizing the law and using treason to shut up critics. Tundu Lissu was locked in, and Samia gave herself 99% votes in the election. So you can see literally it was warding off competition. Besigye was locked in before elections. Bobby Wine was hounded. There are more than 100 of his supporters in jail, so many killed. You can see a trend of warding off any dissent through lawfare. So these countries don't want anybody going to observe. So the question should be, what is wrong with the leadership in East Africa? What is wrong with Kenya? How can Kenya be deporting people to their death? These three leaders, William Ruto, Samia Suluhu, Yoweri Museveni, they are behaving like rogue regimes. They need to change. East Africa is for East Africans, not for the leaders. Our countries are for the people of Kenya, not for the individual leaders. We own the countries together. So let them not shrink the space of the citizens of East Africa and of Africa just to protect their stay in power. You can run, but you cannot hide. And the people together shall never be defeated. It is a question of when, not if. They will not be in power forever. That's the warning shot. Thank you.
Thank you.
I don't touch contaminated stuff. I need to buy phones and mind my data before this. Because anything you may need to affect them information. They took it from ago. Yeah. And you do not know, they are like the Russians. You do not know what they have done. I'm not going to touch them. Things that